Please listen carefully.
Hi, my name's Connor, and until recently, I didn't know much about Bitcoin. But now, amongst my group of friends, I'm the one who knows all about it. So I get a lot of questions from them like, Connor, should I buy Bitcoin? Is it going up? Have I missed out? So to that, I always say the same thing. Before buying any Bitcoin, slow down for a minute, get curious, understand the basics of what it's all about, and then it's up to you. That's why we created Hello Bitcoin, to help everyone understand Bitcoin in the easiest possible way. In the first video, I want to talk about three things. What is Bitcoin? Who is Bitcoin for? And where is Bitcoin going? So let's start with the first question. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is something digital that you can own. It has a price that can go up or down, and it's designed to help you save your money for the long term. And isn't saving up to meet financial goals something we all do, or at least would like to do more of? Like going to university, buying a house, and eventually retiring. All of those big moments in our life require us to think ahead and save. To do that, a lot of people will naturally enough use a savings account. But with Bitcoin, the idea is to help you save for the future in a way that's much better than a typical savings account. To understand how it's better, we need to talk about something that you probably don't think about every day. And that's inflation. Inflation slowly but surely eats away at the value of your savings over time. The things you care about seem to get more and more expensive, and your financial goals get further and further out of reach. Like maybe that $10,000 tuition you were saving for is now $5,000 more every year. It's a sinking feeling. And this is where Bitcoin can help. Bitcoin protects against inflation. That's its superpower. It safeguards your money so those things you care about become more and more affordable over time instead of more expensive. Wouldn't that be a nice change? This inflation protecting superpower is made possible by the key invention behind Bitcoin, absolute scarcity. This means there are only so many Bitcoins that will ever exist. 21 million to be exact. And once we reach that maximum, we can't create any more. That limit can't be increased by anyone. What makes this limit unchangeable is tens of thousands of people around the world voluntarily running the Bitcoin software that enforces it. Ironically, it's the fact that no one controls Bitcoin that makes it so strong. And since more Bitcoin can't simply be made out of thin air, its value can't just be inflated away like the money is today. So over the long term, if demand for Bitcoin increases, if more and more people want to own Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin should go up too. But who benefits from this? Who is Bitcoin for? That's an easy one, because Bitcoin was designed for everyone. Whether you're rich or poor, live in the West or a developing country, or whatever your financial history may be. Bitcoin is something that we can all own in a way that is equally fair for everyone. The most common way to get some Bitcoin is to buy some online on an exchange, much like you would a stock in a company, except you can do it 24/7 and from anywhere in the world. You can also get Bitcoin from special ATMs, directly from other people, or even by earning it. It's getting easier and easier to get Bitcoin as it becomes more widespread. And you don't need to own a whole Bitcoin. Bitcoin is designed to be subdivided into smaller amounts, so it's just as easy to have a tenth of a Bitcoin or 100, whatever amount you want to save with really. As I mentioned earlier, friends of mine often worry that they've missed out on Bitcoin. Zoom out. The fact is, it's still very early days for Bitcoin. This entirely new savings technology was invented just 12 years ago. Lots of people continue to dismiss it. The user experience is still rough and adoption is still relatively low. To put it in perspective, Bitcoin right now has roughly the same number of users as the internet in 1997. That's before Google. So there's still a ton of room for growth ahead. But since we're still so early, you need to be aware of two things. First, Bitcoin remains speculative. Some people see its long-term potential value as much bigger than it is today. Just think about all the money that exists in the world looking for a reliable place to be stored for the future. There's a lot of potential demand that might materialize for Bitcoin, but nothing is certain. There are still many risks, which we'll talk about more in an up and coming video. And because it remains speculative, Bitcoin today is very volatile. That means its value can swing wildly from day to day, even month to month, which is why when using it as a way of saving for the future, it's important to take the long view and think in terms of years or even decades. But as more and more people come to own Bitcoin, speculation will come down and so will its volatility. Before we wrap up, let's look ahead to see where this is all going. Being a better savings technology is just step one in the big project for humanity that is Bitcoin. The real end goal for Bitcoin is to become a new digital currency for the whole world that is universally accessible and politically neutral, kind of like bringing the best of the internet's values to the way money works. Doesn't the idea of one money for the whole world seem like an idea that's a little radical, but also extremely obvious at the same time? Shouldn't we all just measure value the same way, no matter where we live? And if you live outside a stable democratic country, this is probably even more obvious to you. In the end, that's why Bitcoin's most interesting to me. It's our once in a generation opportunity to create a new kind of money, one that is more fair and open than the money we use today. That's it. That's Bitcoin in a nutshell. It's a new way to save for the long term. It's designed for everyone and you're not too late. And eventually, it might become the world's single global currency. We'll get into a lot more detail in future videos, but until then, come and find us in the friendly Hello Bitcoin community and ask any questions or just come along and say hi. See you next time.